There are moments in life when everything aligns perfectly, when the dots of our existence connect in such a profound way that we cannot ignore them. This is one of those moments. You, the viewer, are about to hear a message of profound significance, and let me assure you, it is no coincidence that you are here. This message has been divinely appointed for you. Heaven has been preparing you for this divine interruption. And this moment is no accident. The circumstances of your life, the trials you've faced, the moments of confusion and uncertainty, they've all led you here. God's timing is always perfect. And the time for you to hear the truth that has been hidden from you, is now. As you sit with these words, there is something stirring in your spirit. That stirring is God calling your name. It is the voice of truth rising in this moment, beckoning you to listen, to understand, and to receive the divine revelation that has been prepared for you. This is not just a passing thought or a random coincidence. This is a pivotal moment in your life. The truths you are about to hear are not merely words on a screen. They are divine whispers, meant to guide you, to empower you, and to shift the very foundation of your spiritual walk. But this moment is not just about you. It's not just a personal matter. The divine awakening you are experiencing right now has cosmic significance. This moment is echoing through the spiritual realm, shaking the very gates of heaven and earth. Angels are standing by, watching with anticipation as you, the chosen one, hear and embrace the truth that is now being revealed to you. Your response to this moment will reverberate through eternity, affecting not just your own life, but the lives of many. Heaven is watching, and God is responding to your willingness to embrace what is being revealed. The choice you make in this moment will shape your destiny and the destiny of those around you. This is not just another decision. It is the decision that will lead you into a new season of favor, blessings, and divine purpose. There has been a battle in the spiritual realm over your life, a tug of war between light and darkness, truth and deception, faith and fear. But this is the moment when everything shifts. The truth you've longed to understand, the purpose you've longed to embrace, is now coming into the light. You are being called to stand firm in this truth, to step into the fullness of who God has always intended you to be. This is your awakening. From the very beginning of your journey, you've always felt different, like you weren't meant for the ordinary or the mundane. You may have wondered at times why your spirit felt so attuned to something higher, something beyond what the world around you could comprehend. Others may not have understood you, and you've probably spent time feeling like an outsider, as though the things that mattered to everyone else didn't resonate with you in the same way. But the truth is, your spirit has always been aligned with a higher calling, a divine purpose that only you could fulfill. You have always been marked for something more, something far beyond the ordinary. And it's time for you to embrace the magnitude of that calling. This calling is not just a fleeting idea or a dream, it is a spiritual mandate. God has been preparing you for this very moment. And now, the time has come for you to rise and walk fully into the purpose that has been unfolding over your life. Every challenge, every trial, every time you questioned your place in this world was part of preparing you to walk into the divine purpose that is now unfolding before you. You have always been destined for greatness, and the time to claim that greatness is now. In your journey, there were times when you felt the weight of doubt, when it felt like the world was pressing against you, when your circumstances seemed to mock your calling. But God has been faithful. Every struggle, every trial, and every delay was part of the process. a necessary step in God's plan to prepare you for the massive shift that is about to take place in your life. Now, as you step into the fullness of your purpose, you will begin to see how every moment of your journey has led you to this divine appointment. Your past struggles were not punishment, they were training ground, shaping your character, refining your faith, and building a foundation of trust in God's timing. Your obedience through those trials, your willingness to stand firm in the face of adversity, has opened the door for this new season to begin. Now is the time for you to walk boldly into what you've always known deep within your spirit. Your divine calling is not a distant dream, it is here, and it is yours to claim. The waiting and trials were never wasted, and everything you've been through has prepared you to stand in the fullness of who God created you to be. Your spirit has always known this moment was coming, and now, you are being called to rise and step into your destiny. For so long, you may have wondered why certain seasons of your life felt so challenging, why you had to endure struggles that seemed to last far longer than you expected. You may have questioned whether God was really with you, especially when it felt like the promises He made seemed to be delayed, or when the breakthroughs you were hoping for never seemed to come. But now, as you look back, you'll realize that every trial was a lesson, and every delay a divine setup. The struggles were not about punishment, nor were they about keeping you from your blessings. They were a divine preparation, a necessary season to strengthen you, to build resilience, and to prepare you for the great things that were to come. Your trials, your waiting periods, your moments of heartache and uncertainty, they all served a purpose. They were God's way of refining you, shaping you into someone who is now ready to walk into the promises He has for you. If you had stepped into your blessings too early, before you were truly ready, you wouldn't have been able to carry the weight of what God had in store for you. Now, as you embrace the truth that has been revealed to you, you will see that your past struggles were part of the refining process, shaping your character and your faith, so you could stand firm when the divine blessings began to pour in. This divine moment of truth is not just a moment of personal revelation. It is the culmination of everything you have been through. Your obedience during hardship is the key to the favor you are about to walk into. The blessing is not just about what you are receiving, but about how your faith has grown through the fire. You were never abandoned in the process. You were being prepared. Your obedience is the catalyst for change. Every step you've taken in faith, every decision to trust God's plan despite your circumstances, has brought you to this pivotal moment. Your surrender to God's will has shifted the spiritual atmosphere and positioned you for a massive divine shift. It's not just about your obedience today, it's about the obedience that you have walked out through the ups and downs, through the waiting and the unknown. This is what has made you ready for what is about to unfold in your life. Your obedience has aligned you with God's will. And now, as a result, doors are opening, favor is pouring in, and your divine purpose is being revealed. The shift you are about to experience is not just for you, it is for everyone you are connected to. As you step into your purpose, it will affect the people around you, creating a ripple effect of favor, blessings, and transformation. Your obedience has been the key that unlocked a divine wave of favor that will touch the lives of those you love and beyond. The truth that has been hidden from you is now coming into the light. You have spent years waiting, years wondering what your purpose was, years questioning your path, but now, you are stepping into the reality of what has always been waiting for you. The truth that has been hidden in the spiritual realm is now being unveiled in your life. It is in this moment that everything becomes clear. The trials, the delays, the heartache. It all makes sense in light of God's greater purpose. You are ready to step into the fullness of the divine calling God has for you. This is the season of revelation, the time when everything you've been waiting for unfolds in a way that will astonish you. Now is the time for you to step forward boldly, knowing that God has prepared you for this moment. You are equipped and ready for what lies ahead. Your purpose is no longer a distant dream, it is a reality that you are about to walk into. In this introduction, we have set the stage for the divine awakening of the viewer. The moment they have waited for is now unfolding, and their obedience has set the stage for massive transformation. This is the moment of unveiling, when everything hidden is revealed, and the viewer steps into the fullness of their divine purpose. This is the time when they claim their destiny and walk into the divine favor that has been prepared for them. When you chose obedience to God's will, something extraordinary happened in the spiritual realm. Heaven paused. Time, as we know it, stood still in the celestial court. This was not just another choice made by another person, it was a pivotal moment in the cosmic narrative. Your decision to obey, your commitment to follow God's voice, despite the storms around you, sent a wave of spiritual significance that reverberated across the heavens. This was no small matter. Heaven, the very realm where angels behold the majesty of God, paused in awe. These celestial beings, who have witnessed the very beginning of creation, who have observed the mighty battles between good and evil, and who have seen God's divine intervention in the most unimaginable of circumstances, even they pause to witness your act of obedience. The angels who have been present since the dawn of time, watching the unfolding of creation, witnessing the victory over Lucifer's rebellion, and standing firm in their roles as messengers of God's will. All stood still, filled with awe at the choice you made. They had seen the rise of nations and the fall of empires. They had witnessed the divine orchestration of the world since the beginning. But when you made the decision to obey God, something in the heavens shifted. This moment of obedience to God's voice became a sacred event in the spiritual realm. The weight of your decision reached far beyond the earthly realm. It transcended the confines of time and space. The echoes of your choice rippled through eternity, and even the angels took note of it. Your obedience did not just affect your life, it affected the very fabric of the spiritual atmosphere. You are part of a divine purpose that is so much greater than what meets the eye. Your surrender to God's plan has created a shift in the spiritual realm, one that is impacting the world in ways that you may not fully understand yet. What makes this moment so monumental is that you didn't just say yes with your words. You acted. Your obedience wasn't a passive choice, it was an active step of faith. And as you took that step, heaven took notice. In a realm where every action has profound significance, your decision stood out as a moment of divine alignment. You chose to align yourself with God's purpose, and in doing so, you created a ripple effect that stretches across the heavens. Heaven paused, not out of surprise, but out of a divine recognition of your obedience. It was as though the spiritual realm itself acknowledged your courage, your willingness to follow God's path when the world around you may have suggested otherwise. The moment you made that choice, everything in heaven knew that you were stepping into something far greater than you could have imagined. It was as if the angels themselves stood in awe, witnessing the power of obedience to God's will, knowing that this decision would alter the course of not just your life, but the lives of many. This wasn't just about you. Your obedience would have far-reaching consequences, impacting not only your destiny, but also the destiny of those connected to you. The spiritual significance of your choice is not just limited to this moment. Your obedience has made you a part of God's greater plan, one that spans beyond your understanding, reaching into eternity. When you chose to obey, you did not just affect your own life, you began to align yourself with God's divine purpose for this world. The angel's awe at your decision speaks volumes about the sacred nature of this act. In your obedience, you have opened the doors to divine favor, breakthroughs, and destiny, not just for yourself, but for those who will be impacted by your life. What is so striking about your choice is the weight it carries. Not just in the present moment, but for generations to come. Obedience to God's will is not simply about aligning yourself with His plan for today. It is about setting in motion a series of events that will shape the future. The decision you made to walk in obedience is a catalyst, a spark that ignites a greater purpose. This is not just about you and your journey. This is about the destiny that has been set in motion. A destiny that will touch not only your life, but the lives of your family, your community, and even the generations that follow. The decision you made is the start of something far larger than anything you could have imagined. It was not just a personal decision, but one that will impact everything connected to you. God's plan for your life is generational, and your act of obedience is paving the way for blessings to flow down to your descendants. The favor you are walking into today will not only impact you, but will create a legacy that will bless your children, your grandchildren, and their descendants. You are walking in the footsteps of those who have gone before you, and in the path you're creating, others will follow. Your choice to obey God's voice, despite the challenges, despite the unknown, has shifted the trajectory of not just your life, but also of those connected to you. The blessing you are stepping into today is not just for your enjoyment, but for the generational legacy it will create. As you walk in obedience, the divine favor that is activated will touch those around you, and the ripple effect of your decision will extend far beyond your own generation. Think of the impact of one obedient decision. The decisions of those who walked before you in faith had lasting effects on the world and the generations to come. Abraham's obedience to leave his home and follow God's call set the foundation for the blessing of nations. His choice to obey God changed the spiritual course of history and established a legacy that has continued through generations. The obedience of one man created a ripple that stretched across time. And your obedience is doing the same. What you have done is no small thing. You have stepped into a new season of blessing that will extend far beyond your own life. Your obedience has set the stage for an outpouring of divine favor that will flow down from you to your children and grandchildren, touching the lives of everyone you encounter and creating a lasting legacy of faith, favor, and divine purpose. It's easy to think that our actions only impact our own lives. But the truth is, the ripple effects of obedience to God's will go far beyond the individual. As you step into this new season of divine favor, you may not even realize the immense impact your life will have on those around you. But make no mistake, the ripple effect of your choice to follow God's plan will touch many lives in ways you can't yet imagine. The favor you are walking into will spill over to those in your family, your workplace, your community, and beyond. Your obedience has not just opened the door to blessings for yourself, it has opened the door to a flood of divine favor that will bless everyone connected to you. This ripple effect is far-reaching. Think of a pebble dropped into a pond. The waves go out far beyond the initial point of contact. Your obedience is like that pebble, creating waves of change that will impact not only your own life but also the lives of others for generations to come. Your faithfulness to God is creating a ripple of favor that will draw others closer to God, inspire them to walk in obedience, and open the doors for them to experience their own breakthroughs. As you walk into this new season of favor, you are not just receiving blessings for yourself, you are also becoming a vessel of blessing for others. The favor you experience will flow out to your family and friends, your church, and even those who are watching from the outside. Your life is becoming a beacon of God's goodness and a testimony of His faithfulness. As others see the favor that is on your life, they will be drawn to the God who has blessed you. And just as you have chosen obedience, you will inspire others to do the same, creating a cycle of faithfulness, obedience, and blessing that multiplies over time. This favor is not just about personal success or individual prosperity, it is about God's divine calling to bless the world. You are walking in God's purpose. And His purpose is not confined to you alone. It is about reaching others, spreading His love, and bringing them into the divine favor you are experiencing. God has always had a divine plan that involves blessing others through His people. Just as He called Abraham to be a blessing to the nations, He is calling you to be a vessel of His favor, to bring His light to those around you. Your obedience will not only bless your own life, it will open the doors for others to step into their own blessings. This divine calling is not about hoarding blessings for yourself. It is about sharing the favor that God is pouring into your life and allowing it to overflow into the lives of others. As you receive divine favor, you become a conduit through which that favor can flow to others. God's blessing is not meant to be kept, it is meant to be passed on, to extend to those around you, and to bring them into alignment with His will. You are stepping into a season where your favor will impact the world around you. Your obedience has unlocked a season of blessing that will not only change your life, but will also change the lives of everyone you encounter. This is not just about your success, it is about God's success through you. You are the vessel of His favor. And through your obedience, others will come to know the God who blesses. In this section, we've explored the incredible impact of your obedience on not only your own life, but on the generations to come. Your obedience has set in motion a divine ripple effect, a legacy of favor that will bless those around you and beyond. Your life is becoming a vessel of divine favor, a blessing to your family, your community, and the world. Your obedience today is positioning you to walk in a season of divine favor that will spill over into the lives of many. This is not just about you, it's about fulfilling God's divine purpose and blessing the world. There comes a moment in every believer's life when the tension between faith and fear is so real, so palpable, that it feels like a battleground. It's the moment when God calls you to step forward, to trust Him in the midst of overwhelming circumstances, and everything in you, every part of your being wants to turn away, to take a different path, to shrink back into the safety of the known. But you chose faith, even when it seemed impossible. You chose obedience to God's voice, even in the face of fear. And that decision, that courageous, bold act of faith has moved heaven. The battle between fear and faith is not a small one. Fear, with its voice of doubt, insecurity, and uncertainty, tries to drown out the voice of God. It makes the path ahead look impossible and tells you that you are unworthy of the blessings and promises God has prepared for you. Fear tells you that you're too small, too weak, or too broken to walk into what God has called you to. It magnifies every obstacle, every challenge, and it makes your faith feel small. But faith is the antidote to fear. It says, I don't understand the path ahead, but I trust God will lead me. It's trusting in God's promises even when you can't see the way forward. And when you chose faith over fear, heaven took notice. This moment of obedience was not merely a human decision, it was a heavenly transaction. By choosing to trust God and obey His voice despite the overwhelming circumstances, you have set into motion divine favor, blessings, and breakthrough. The divine forces in the universe are now responding to your obedience. It's not about having perfect conditions. It's not about the easy path. It's about choosing to step forward in faith, even when everything seems to be telling you to stop. Obedience during hardship is the key to unlocking heaven's favor. God doesn't need perfection, He needs your heart. He needs your willingness to trust Him, even when you don't have all the answers. When you don't have a roadmap, and when the obstacles seem too high to climb, your obedience through the difficult times, when the odds were against you, has released a divine favor that you are about to experience in ways that you never imagined. It's a favor that will change your circumstances, heal your wounds, and usher you into your destiny. The story of Peter walking on water is one of the most profound examples of this kind of faith, triumphing over fear. When Peter stepped out of the boat, he was stepping into the unknown, literally walking on water. The storm raged around him, and yet, he focused on Jesus. He trusted Jesus' call. As long as his eyes were on Jesus, he walked above the storm, above the fear. But the moment Peter shifted his gaze to the storm, the winds and waves around him became overwhelming. He began to sink, but Jesus didn't rebuke him for doubting. Instead, He reached out, caught him, and said, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Matthew 14:31. Peter's choice to step out of the boat wasn't perfect. He was a man like any of us, full of doubt and fear. But his obedience in stepping out, despite the fear, was enough. It moved heaven. And in the same way, your obedience, even in fear, moves heaven. You may not be perfect. You may stumble, but your willingness to step out in faith, despite the circumstances, is what creates the divine alignment necessary for you to walk in God's favor. There are seasons when it feels as though nothing is happening. The prayers feel like they are falling on deaf ears. The promises seem distant, and the silence can feel unbearable. You've been waiting, longing for something to change. Yet the heavens seem quiet. These moments of silence are often the hardest to endure because we mistake them for abandonment, when, in reality, they are divine preparation. The silence wasn't God ignoring you. It wasn't abandonment. It was God's work behind the scenes. He was preparing you for something far greater than you could have imagined. The silence allowed you to grow in strength and character. It gave you space to develop patience, trust, and deeper faith. While it may have felt like nothing was happening, God was using that time to refine you and position you for the blessings that are now unfolding. Think of David, the young shepherd who spent years in isolation, tending sheep. He was anointed to be king, but the journey to that position wasn't immediate. David waited in the silence, surrounded by the quiet of the fields, seemingly forgotten. But in that time, God was training him. He was developing his heart, teaching him how to trust God, and equipping him with the strength and wisdom he would need to be a great king. It was in those moments of solitude that David learned to fight lions and bears, preparing him to face the giant Goliath. His silence wasn't a period of abandonment, it was divine training. Similarly, Your endurance in silence was not wasted. God was not absent. He was refining your spirit. He was helping you grow in faith, in trust, and in patience. The silent seasons are not times when God is doing nothing. They are times when He is doing the deepest work in your life. He is shaping your character, building your spiritual muscles, and teaching you how to listen more closely to His voice. The patience you developed during these seasons was not in vain. It was the training ground for the favor that is now unfolding. Endurance in silence also teaches us how to wait on God's timing, how to hold on to hope when the answer hasn't come yet, and how to keep trusting when everything around us seems to be falling apart. The silence was the moment when your faith grew roots deep into God's promises. God used those silent moments to teach you how to rely solely on Him, without the distractions, without the noise. And now that you've learned to wait with faith, you are ready to receive the divine blessings that are about to flood your life. Patience is one of the most powerful virtues God can cultivate in us. It is not about sitting idly by, waiting for things to change, but about choosing to trust God's plan and waiting on His timing. No matter how long it takes, patience is the fruit of a soul that has learned to rest in God's promises. Even when the answer seems delayed, your patience in waiting for God's timing was not wasted. In fact, it was the very key that unlocked the floodgates of favor in your life. In the waiting, you were not just preparing for blessings, you were preparing to receive them well. The viewer's ability to wait on God has now positioned them for a divine unveiling, a season when all that has been held back is now about to flow freely into their life. Just as Abraham waited for the promise of a child, just as Joseph waited in prison before he was exalted, your patience during the waiting seasons has been setting you up for a time of favor, provision, and divine alignment. God was using your waiting to bring the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances into alignment. Waiting is not about idleness. It's about preparation, maturity, and trusting that when the moment is right, God will act. The silence, the waiting, the moments when it felt like nothing was happening, were the moments God was equipping you for the blessings that are now pouring into your life. Your faith in the waiting has been rewarded. And now, as you step into this new season of favor, you will see the fruits of your patience and trust in God's perfect timing. In the times when it seemed like nothing was happening, God was working behind the scenes in ways that were invisible to you. Every moment of silence, every time you felt forgotten or unnoticed, God was orchestrating things on your behalf. The delays were not a sign of God's absence, they were part of His perfect plan. Just as Esther had no idea that her obedience would save a nation, or that her moment of favor would come at precisely the right time. You have been walking through the silent preparations that are now about to unfold in a miraculous way. You may not have seen God's hand moving, but He was there, aligning circumstances and preparing your heart for the blessings that would soon pour into your life. God's work behind the scenes is always greater than what we can see with our physical eyes. Even in the silence, God was preparing you, aligning people, places, and situations that were beyond your control, all in preparation for your breakthrough. The waiting period was not wasted. It was a time when God was working in ways you couldn't see, but that will now be revealed as He opens doors, activates favor, and brings you into the fullness of His promises. In this section, we've explored how obedience in the face of adversity, endurance in silence, and patience in waiting are the key factors that unlock divine favor. Through your steadfast trust in God, you've positioned yourself for the massive shifts that are about to unfold in your life. God's work behind the scenes has been preparing you for the moment of divine unveiling, a season when all that has been hidden will come to light, and you will step into the blessings that God has been preparing for you all along. The favor you are about to experience is the result of your obedience in the silence, the patience you exhibited, and your unwavering faith that God's plan for you is far greater than anything you could have imagined. There are moments in life when surrender becomes more than a simple act of yielding. It becomes an earth-shattering declaration of faith. Your surrender to God's will wasn't just a quiet submission, it was an act of strength, an unshakable declaration of your trust in God's plan. Even when the circumstances felt unbearable, it shocked heaven. Not because it was unexpected, but because your willingness to trust God, despite the wounds you carry, despite the pain you've endured, reflected a spiritual strength that is forged only through trial. This was no ordinary surrender. This was the kind of obedience that moves mountains, the kind of obedience that shifts the spiritual realm and creates divine ripples in the fabric of time and space. Heaven took note of your decision to surrender. Not because it was an act of weakness, but because it demonstrated a strength that is untouchable. It is the strength that comes from walking through the fire and emerging stronger. The strength that rises up when the storms of life threaten to pull you under, but you choose to hold fast to God's promises instead. Your surrender wasn't a retreat. It wasn't about giving up. It was about letting go of the control that you had clung to for so long and choosing to step forward in faith. It was about choosing God's will over your own desires, even when it felt like the path was uncertain and the future was a vast unknown. It was an act of profound trust, one that is not born from comfort, but forged in the fires of hardship. This was the obedience that heaven has long awaited, the kind of obedience that causes divine favor to descend upon your life. Obedience in the face of pain. It's one thing to obey when things are going well, when the path is clear and the journey is easy. But your surrender to God's will wasn't just in times of peace. It was in the midst of pain. It was in the moments when everything seemed to be falling apart, when your heart was broken, and when your spirit was crushed under the weight of life's trials. Your surrender in those moments wasn't just an act of will, it was a testimony of faith that has shaken the spiritual realm. It's often in the hardest moments of life that obedience to God's will becomes the most powerful. When you obey in the face of pain, when you choose to trust God despite the storm around you, it becomes a sacrifice of praise that reaches heaven. It is no longer a simple act of duty. It becomes a sacred offering to God, an offering that is pleasing to Him and draws His favor. Your obedience, in the midst of pain, is the very thing that draws divine favor into your life. Heaven has seen your heart, seen the depth of your sacrifice, and noticed the unwavering faith you demonstrated when you chose to surrender fully to God's plan. That act of obedience through suffering has captured God's attention, and now He is moving on your behalf in ways that you've never experienced before. Every act of surrender carries spiritual weight. Heaven recognizes it, and it is seen as a testament to the strength of your faith. You may have wondered if God was paying attention to your struggles. But know this: every moment of obedience in your pain has been a declaration of your trust in God's goodness, His timing, and His plan. And now, because of your faithfulness, heaven is responding with favor, provision, and blessings that are meant to carry you forward into the fullness of God's purpose for your life. God's recognition. God has seen your heart. He has seen your obedience, your sacrifice, and your unwavering faith through every season of hardship. He knows the depth of your struggles and the battles you've fought silently. Nothing has been missed by God, not a single tear, not a single moment of doubt. He has witnessed it all. And in His perfect timing, He has called this moment your divine reward. God's recognition of your obedience is not a fleeting acknowledgement. It is a divine affirmation of who you are and who you have become. God is not simply observing from a distance. He is actively moving in your life, positioning you for greatness and purpose. This divine recognition means that God's favor is now being activated in your life. Everything you have walked through, every trial, every obstacle, every moment of surrender has positioned you to step into the fullness of what God has always had in store for you. The favor of God that is being released to you is a direct result of your obedience. It is not something you can earn through works alone. It is the reward of a heart that has chosen to follow God's will. Even when it felt impossible, God is now moving on your behalf. And you are stepping into a season of abundant blessings, restoration, and provision that will elevate your life in ways you've never dreamed possible. This moment of divine recognition is significant because it marks the beginning of something new in your life. You are no longer walking in the shadows of doubt or uncertainty. You have moved from a place of struggle into a season of divine favor and purpose. God is affirming your obedience and has marked you as someone who is aligned with His will, someone who is ready to walk into the destiny He has planned for you. God has marked you for greatness. What you may not have realized is that your obedience to God's voice has set you apart. God has marked you not for punishment, but for greatness. He has chosen you to walk in a purpose that is far greater than what you could have ever imagined for yourself. God is positioning you for something extraordinary, a life that is full of divine favor, unprecedented opportunity, and a legacy of blessing that will extend beyond your lifetime. This mark of divine surrender is not a small thing. It is a call to greatness, a call to walk boldly in the purpose that God has ordained for you. When you chose to surrender to God's will, you chose to walk into a destiny that was written before the foundations of the earth. You may have struggled, you may have questioned, and you may have wondered if you were truly on the right path. But in this moment, God is confirming that you are exactly where you need to be. You are walking in the fullness of His plan, and everything is aligning for you to step into greatness. God's recognition of your obedience is a divine endorsement. He is not only acknowledging your faithfulness, but is actively working on your behalf to bring your divine purpose to fruition. The doors that have been closed will now open with ease. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will suddenly be within your grasp. The blessings you've been praying for are now being released, and your purpose is being unveiled in a way that will change the course of your life. This recognition from God is a moment of elevation, where your obedience has paved the way for the manifestation of divine favor. The favor that you are about to walk into is not just for you, it is for the fulfillment of God's purpose in your life. You are being elevated to a new place of influence, responsibility, and blessing. God has marked you for greatness, and now is the time to step into it. In this section, we have witnessed the spiritual significance of the viewer's obedience, how their surrender to God's will has not only impacted their own life, but has had a divine effect that reaches beyond them. The act of obedience in the face of pain has shaken the heavens. And now, because of their obedience, God is moving powerfully on their behalf. God has recognized their heart, their sacrifice, and their unwavering faith. This divine recognition is the mark of greatness, and it has positioned the viewer for a new season of favor, opportunity, and purpose. The favor that God is now releasing in their life will lead them into their divine destiny. where they will experience the fullness of what has been prepared for them. Every single detail of your journey, every moment of your waiting, every trial you've encountered, it was part of God's plan. In our human perspective, waiting can feel like a period of loss or delay. It can feel like things are stuck, like you are standing still, with no sign of movement or progress. But let me share a powerful truth. God's timing is always perfect, and everything you have gone through has been part of a divine orchestration, positioning you for the outpouring of favor that is about to unfold in your life. Divine timing isn't just a passive concept. It is a force that has been working on your behalf, even when you couldn't see it. Each trial, each moment of silence, and each setback were divinely orchestrated to prepare you for what is now about to happen. What you have endured has not been in vain. It has been preparation. You have been shaped and positioned, just like a tree growing tall, its roots buried deep into the soil, ready for the season when it will bear abundant fruit. The waiting was never wasted. God's hand has been moving in your life, behind the scenes, aligning things, setting up the perfect conditions for this moment. In every delay, God was positioning you, refining you, and building your character. What you perceived as delays were really divine setups, carefully crafted moments that aligned your heart with His will and His purpose. You were being prepared for the magnitude of blessings that God is about to pour into your life. Your obedience during the waiting seasons has aligned you with God's divine timing. You may have felt like the clock was ticking slowly, but the truth is, God has been working at His pace to ensure that when the time came for the unveiling of your favor, it would be perfect. And now, that moment has arrived. The season of waiting is over, and the blessings that have been prepared for you are now unfolding at divine speed. Divine timing doesn't just mean that blessings are arriving in God's timing. It means that you are in alignment with that timing. This isn't just about you receiving blessings. It's about you being in the right place, at the right time, doing what God has called you to do. You have been prepared, shaped, and positioned for this season, where God's favor is being released upon you in a way that will change the trajectory of your life. Now that you are walking in alignment with God's perfect timing, you are stepping into a season where divine favor is being activated in ways that will transform your life. Opportunities that once seemed distant, out of reach, or impossible, are now about to arrive with divine speed. This is a season where things will begin to fall into place with effortless ease. The opportunities, the breakthroughs, and the favor you've been waiting for are now rushing toward you. And you need to be ready to step into them. You've been faithful through the waiting. You've endured the trials. And you've surrendered to God's will in the midst of uncertainty. Now, God is activating His favor in your life. The doors that once felt locked, the opportunities that once seemed elusive, will now open wide, and you won't have to fight or struggle to get through them. You will walk into these blessings effortlessly, because God is opening them at the perfect time. You are entering a season of divine acceleration. This is not going to be a gradual process. What you've been waiting for is about to happen quickly. Years of preparation, years of longing, and years of waiting will now turn into days of breakthrough. What you've hoped for will no longer be a distant dream. It will be your present reality. You will experience rapid transformation. Not because you've made things happen on your own, but because God has accelerated the process as you've walked in obedience. There is a moment of activation in the spiritual realm right now. The time for waiting is over. And now is the time for divine favor to be released. just as the Red Sea parted suddenly for Moses, or the walls of Jericho fell without a fight. The favor and blessings that are coming into your life will arrive in ways you least expect, with divine speed, power, and ease. This activation of favor is not just about receiving opportunities or blessings for yourself. It's about stepping into the destiny God has ordained for you. You are not only being positioned for success in this world, but you are being aligned with divine purpose that will bring transformation to others. Your obedience is creating a ripple effect of blessing and favor that will touch everyone in your circle, and even those who you don't yet know. God is using this moment to elevate not just you, but the people around you. This is a season of divine acceleration, not just for you, but for the generations that will follow. The opportunities you've prayed for, the dreams that have seemed impossible, are now within your reach. What once felt out of your grasp is now coming to you with divine speed. You've worked hard. You've waited. You've prayed. And now the season of favor is here. In this season of divine activation, things are going to happen faster than you can imagine. God's timing is perfect, but it's also rapid. The delays that seemed so long were part of the preparation. Now that you've been aligned with God's purpose and timing, He is releasing blessings into your life at supernatural speed. This acceleration isn't just about achieving your personal goals. It's about stepping into a greater level of purpose. Opportunities that once seemed far off will now be within your reach, and doors that once felt locked will swing open. You will experience a shift in your life that will take you from waiting to walking in favor. And this isn't a slow, steady climb. This is divine acceleration. Everything you've been praying for will begin to come to fruition rapidly. Don't be surprised when opportunities that seem distant, jobs, relationships, financial blessings come to you in divine speed. This is the season of breakthrough, where what was once delayed is now being released into your life. You will begin to see that divine favor isn't just about what's coming in the future, it's about what is already arriving. Doors that were locked will suddenly be open, and things that seemed impossible will become attainable. This is the time when God's blessings will manifest in your life, and it will happen faster than you ever imagined. The season of waiting is over. The season of preparation is complete. Now, God is moving quickly. You are walking into a time of divine speed, a time when favor and breakthrough will happen suddenly, without struggle. When God begins to activate His favor in your life, it doesn't come with gradual progress. It comes with divine acceleration, where years of waiting turn into days of transformation. You are entering a season where things are changing rapidly. Opportunities you've been waiting for will open without effort. Relationships will flourish unexpectedly. Financial breakthroughs will occur at lightning speed. Healing, both emotional and physical, will take place faster than you thought possible. God's favor is accelerating the process because you have walked in obedience during the waiting seasons. This is a season of divine acceleration, where things that once seemed out of reach are now within your grasp. You will see that what took years for others will take days for you. What was once a distant dream will suddenly become your reality. Don't be afraid of the speed of your blessings. God has been preparing you for this very moment, and now it's time to walk in it. As you enter this new season, remember that divine acceleration is not just about personal success, it's about aligning with God's purpose. Your obedience has opened the door for God's will to unfold rapidly, not just for you, but for the blessing of those around you. This is your time to step into your full potential, to walk in the favor that God has always had for you, and to receive all that He has prepared. In this section, We've seen that divine timing has perfectly positioned you for the blessings that are now being released. The waiting is over, and favor is being activated in your life. Opportunities that once seemed distant are now within your reach, and divine favor is coming quickly. The season of acceleration is upon you, and everything you've been praying for is about to manifest rapidly. Step boldly into this season, knowing that you are walking in divine alignment with God's perfect plan. And the doors that are opening before you are the ones He has prepared just for you. When you made the choice to follow God's will, when you said yes to the path He set before you, you didn't just change the course of your own life, you set the foundation for a legacy. One that will ripple across time and impact not only your life but the lives of your family, your community, and future generations. The obedience you've demonstrated has activated divine favor in ways that go beyond the immediate and touch the very core of your legacy. Many times, we view obedience as a personal choice, a moment of surrender where we, as individuals, step into alignment with God's purpose for our lives. And while that is true, obedience is never just about the individual. Your decision to obey is a key that unlocks not just your own blessings but creates an overflow that touches everyone around you. Your obedience is setting the stage for blessings that will spill over to future generations. What you are walking into is not just a season of personal growth and favor, it's a divine inheritance that will extend into the lives of those who come after you. The divine favor you are experiencing now is not only for today. It is the beginning of a legacy that will continue to bless and elevate others in ways you may not fully understand. This favor is being poured into your life, but it's not just for your enjoyment. It is a blessing meant to overflow, creating a pathway for those you love and those you serve to walk into the same favor, provision, and growth that you are now walking in. Think of the story of Abraham. When God called him, He didn't just promise him blessings for Abraham alone, He promised that through Abraham's obedience, all nations would be blessed. The obedience of one man changed the entire trajectory of the world, bringing about blessings that still echo today. Abraham's obedience to God was a catalyst for the blessings that flowed down through his children and beyond. The favor that Abraham walked in didn't just bless his life, it changed the fate of nations. In the same way, your obedience has a generational impact. It is setting a foundation of blessings that will extend to your children, grandchildren, and even further down your family line. The favor you are walking into now is not a temporary thing. It is the beginning of a long-lasting legacy, one that will touch generations to come. God's promises are generational. He doesn't just bless you for today, but He's establishing a legacy through your faithfulness and obedience. As you step into your divine purpose, your obedience will not only impact your own life, but will also create a ripple effect of favor that touches everyone you encounter. The obedience that you have shown has set the stage for the favor of God to pour into your life in a way that affects your relationships, your community, and even those who you may not have met yet. The favor you are receiving is not meant to stay with you, it is meant to overflow and bless others. Every choice you've made to follow God, despite the challenges, despite the doubts, has set a precedent of faith. This faith has been the key that unlocked the blessings not just for your life but for the lives of everyone connected to you. The ripple effect of your obedience is far-reaching. You may not yet realize how many lives your decision will impact. But as you step forward in faith, you will begin to see that your obedience is touching lives in ways that you couldn't have predicted. In your family, your obedience has begun to shift the atmosphere. Those who are close to you, your children, your siblings, your parents, are being impacted by your faith. Your willingness to obey has created a new trajectory for your family's future. One that is now aligned with divine favor. Your faith is becoming the seed that will bring forth generational blessings, just as Abraham's obedience led to the blessing of nations. Your obedience is now laying the groundwork for blessings that will flow into the lives of your loved ones, in your community. The favor you are receiving is causing a shift, as others see your obedience and the blessings that are unfolding in your life. They will be encouraged to walk in their own faith and obedience. You are becoming a beacon of light, showing those around you what is possible when we align ourselves with God's will. Your obedience is not just changing your life, it is influencing the lives of everyone you encounter, inspiring them to step into their own divine favor and purpose. And as you continue to walk in God's purpose, this ripple effect will only grow stronger. The favor of God that is overflowing in your life will touch the lives of strangers, people you don't even know yet. People who will cross your path and experience the blessings of God's favor through you. It will be a blessing that moves through you, impacting the world around you in ways that are beyond what you can see now. Your obedience has set into motion a divine ripple that will continue to touch the hearts and lives of everyone you meet. Many of us, when we think of favor, tend to focus on the personal benefits. We think of financial blessing, career success, or personal growth. And yes, favor often brings those blessings, but true divine favor isn't just about personal success. It's about fulfilling the purpose God has for your life, which often includes blessing others. Your obedience has opened the door for God's favor to overflow. And this favor isn't just for your personal success. It is meant to be shared. God's divine favor has a global impact. It's not just about you being blessed, it's about you becoming a vessel of blessing to the world around you. When you walk in divine favor, you are being entrusted with the resources, the opportunities, and the blessings needed to bless others. The purpose of the favor in your life is multiplicative. It is meant to bring blessings not just to you, but to others. The favor you are receiving will create opportunities for you to lift others up, to empower them, and to bring them into the same divine favor you are walking in. Your obedience is positioning you not only for personal success, but for the opportunity to be part of God's plan to bless the world. When God pours favor into your life, He is not simply giving it to you for your own benefit. He is making you a vessel of His love, a channel through which His blessings can flow into the world. This favor is a divine calling to bless the world, to bring others into the same blessing and favor you are receiving. You are not walking in favor just for your own gain. You are walking in it for the sake of others. When God calls us to walk in His favor, He calls us to be a blessing. This is the heart of divine favor. It is not just about what we can receive, but about what we can give. God blesses us so that we can bless others. He gives us favor so that we can extend that favor to those around us, creating a cycle of blessing that continues to multiply. You are walking into a legacy of blessing that will impact not only your life but generations to come. The favor that God is releasing in your life is not just for you. It is part of a divine legacy that will flow down through your family, your community, and beyond. Just as Abraham's obedience led to a blessing that touched the nations, your obedience is now creating a legacy that will bless future generations. Think about the generational impact of your obedience. Every time you choose faith, every time you choose obedience, you are laying the foundation for blessings that will not just benefit you but will flow down to your children, grandchildren, and beyond. The decisions you make today are not just for you, they are for your family's future, your children's future, and the generations that will follow. The legacy of favor you are walking into will bless those who come after you, continuing to overflow from generation to generation. God is creating a legacy through your obedience. The divine favor He is releasing in your life today will not just bless you, it will create a ripple effect that touches the lives of everyone around you. From your family to your community, to your future generations. You are walking into a season of favor that will not only change your life, but will continue to bless others for generations to come. This is a generational legacy of divine favor that will have lasting impact on those who follow you. In this section, we have seen the incredible impact of your obedience, how it has created a legacy of blessing that will affect not just your life, but the lives of your family and community. The ripple effect of your obedience is far-reaching, extending to generations yet to come. You are not only walking into divine favor for yourself, but you are becoming a vessel of blessing, a conduit for God's favor that will overflow and bring others into the same blessings you are now experiencing. This divine favor is not for personal gain alone. It is meant to bless the world, to empower others, and to bring them into the favor of God. Your obedience is creating a legacy of favor that will impact the generations after you. You are walking into your divine destiny, and with it, you will bless many. The time has come. You have stepped into a new season of divine favor. A season that is not just a change in your circumstances, but a cosmic shift in the spiritual realm. What was once hidden is now being revealed, the mysteries of your life. The promises God has whispered to you in your quiet moments. The destiny that has been patiently waiting for you to walk into are now unfolding before your eyes. You are no longer in the waiting room. You are no longer looking at blessings as if they are a far-off dream or something reserved for someone else. The time of waiting and preparation has borne fruit, and now you are walking into the fullness of all that God has ordained for you. Every trial, every struggle, every season of uncertainty you have faced has been a step of preparation, shaping you and refining you, molding you into the person who can now carry the weight of the blessings that God has been preparing to release in your life. What you are walking into now is not just about personal growth or achievement. This is about the fulfillment of God's divine plan for your life. This is the moment of unveiling, where the purpose that was hidden is now coming to light. And you are stepping into the future that God has been preparing you for all along. You have been faithful. You have trusted through the darkest of times. And now you are being rewarded with divine favor. The kind of favor that changes everything. It's the favor that aligns your heart with God's will, that opens doors that were once closed, and that ushers you into a season of divine blessing that will propel you forward into your destiny. This moment, this unveiling, is not just about the blessings you receive. It is about the fulfillment of God's promises to you. Everything you've experienced has brought you to this divine crossroads. And now it's time to step forward confidently, knowing that what you are walking into has been ordained for you. The favor you are receiving is not by chance. It is the result of your obedience, your faithfulness, and your trust in God's perfect timing. As you step forward into this new season, I want you to affirm in your heart that you are ready to receive the favor that is being poured into your life. This is God's gift to you, and it is the result of your obedience and faithfulness. You are no longer waiting for blessings to come to you. They are already here. And now it is time for you to walk into them. You have been prepared for this moment. Every challenge, every trial, every season of waiting has been part of the divine process. Now, as the doors to favor swing wide open, you are stepping into a new season of divine acceleration. No longer will you have to wait for opportunities to come to you. They will come swiftly and effortlessly, aligning perfectly with God's timing and His perfect plan for your life. The waiting is over. The promises of God are now being fulfilled, and you are walking into the blessings that have been set aside for you. The favor you are experiencing today is not a random occurrence. It is the result of your trust, your obedience, and your surrender to God's will. You are stepping into your destiny, and this is only the beginning. The path ahead is bright with possibilities, and God is with you every step of the way. As you move forward, know that you are walking in divine favor, a favor that will bring restoration, provision, and growth into your life. Embrace this moment and all that comes with it. This is your time to receive the blessings God has prepared for you, and to step boldly into your future. Trust in the process that has brought you here, knowing that the journey you've walked has led you directly to this divine unveiling of purpose and favor. Now, I invite you to take a step of faith in this moment. Type 777 in the comments as a symbol of your readiness to step fully into your divine favor. 777 is more than just a number, it is a declaration of faith. By typing 777, you are affirming that you are ready to receive all that God has prepared for you. This is your public declaration that you are stepping into the new season of favor, blessings, and divine alignment. As you type 777, you are saying yes to the favor that is coming into your life. You are declaring that you are ready to walk in the fullness of God's plan, to embrace the blessings and opportunities that are unfolding, and to step confidently into your divine destiny. This is the moment when you claim what God has promised, and by acknowledging it publicly, you are positioning yourself to receive everything that He has in store for you. I also encourage you to share this message with others who need to hear it. There are people in your life who are walking in seasons of doubt, who are waiting for their own divine breakthrough, and this message can be the key to unlocking their favor as well. Share the message of divine favor, and invite others to join you on this journey of obedience, favor, and blessing. Let's spread this truth and empower others to step into their divine destiny as well. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering content that will continue to guide and strengthen you as you walk through the doors of divine favor and into the fullness of your purpose. You have been prepared for this moment, and this is only the beginning. As you stand at this threshold of divine favor, remember that this is your moment, the moment when everything begins to align. You have walked through the fire, and now you are walking into the abundance that God has stored up for you. Your favor is here, and this is the moment of unveiling where all that God has promised will begin to unfold. The waiting was necessary for the preparation. The trials you faced were not punishment, they were divine shaping. And now, as the doors of favor swing wide open, you are stepping into the new season of your life, where abundance, restoration, and blessings are flowing freely. Take a deep breath and step forward confidently. The waiting is over, and your destiny is unfolding right now. You are walking in divine favor, and everything you've prayed for is coming into alignment. This is your moment. This is your time. Embrace it fully, knowing that God has prepared you for everything that is about to unfold.